Hello, welcome to my second show, and today I'd like you to provide you with some clarity on an issue that's really driving much of the politics of the current age, and that is tribalism. You hear this term bandied out about a lot, and sure, it has to do with emotional attachments to things. But today what I want to do is provide some clarity in order to, help you begin to think more clearly about things. And that is the way that you begin to solve the problems on an individual basis. So tribalism for political science, scientists, is when we as Americans begin to represent the parties rather than have them represent us. It is true to say that in a democracy that you as an individual do not wield a lot of power. The point of democracy is to combine your little power with others that share similar values, and hopefully then to determine political outcomes. And political parties are one of these agents that combine people together in order to affect political outcomes. But what they're supposed to do is represent we the people. Instead, because Americans refuse to learn and know and care all that much about politics, they look for strategies to keep it simple. I call them KISS strategies, keep it simple, stupid. And partisan tribalism is one of those. Hopefully throughout my discussions on this programming, you will be able to disavow yourself of some tribal thinking yourself. So what is tribalism? Well, again, tribalism is reversing the relationship that we're supposed to have with our political parties. And so let me try to illustrate this. Excuse me just for a moment. I lost one note. Okay, so in the perfect world, human beings start with interests. So let's try this. These are people. And let's say they have, I don't know, a green interest. Well, what they're supposed to do is channel those interests up to a political party that then represents the Green Party. Okay, so that's the way that it's supposed to work. That's not the way that it's working right now because, again, Americans like to keep it simple, stupid. Okay, so I'll show you the way that it's working nowadays. Okay, so what we really do now is we start basically in the same place. In which we once again have green interests. But instead of channeling those interests up to the political parties, we now say, well, we are a member of the Republican Party. And because I'm a member of the Republican Party, okay, I have to start representing them. And so maybe the Republican Party has a red interest. And yes, I'm using red on purpose. We usually associate red with the Republican Party, red states, blue states, and all that stuff. Okay? And what that then means is that the Republican Party pushes their interests down onto the voters. And these voters over time then begin to change their interests into something else. Often the opposite of what exactly it is that they have an interest in. And so what happens here ultimately is people begin to vote for things that go against their own interests. Well, so what you need to think about here as far as some clarity is concerned, okay, is to make sure that you believe something before you say that you're a member of a political party. If the only reason that you believe something and make arguments is because you want to represent your party, that you want to be a good member of a political party, I mean, I never understand this anyway. I want to ask you very particular, when was the last time a Republican showed up at your door to cook you dinner? When was the last time a Democrat showed up and offered to mow your lawn? Well, and why do you feel like you owe these people anyway? Well, the reason why is because you want to feel like you're a part of something bigger than you. Okay, well, you can still do that, but remember, you can channel your interests into the political party, and you do not need to take your cues from that political party. Okay, this is nowhere better evidence than in the issue of climate change. I go round and round with my students about this all the time. Listen, you know, I understand why the Republican Party apparatus would continue to argue that climate change is not happening, or at least try to provide some doubts. Okay, but I don't get what the normal Republican sitting over here down the street gets out of making ridiculous arguments about, you know, climate change isn't real, exposing themselves to arguments. Well, it's because they're representing their party. And so what I'd ask you to do in this moment of clarity is to think afresh about something and perhaps get away from your tribalism. Until next time, this is David Reese, and hopefully I provided some clarity.